Welcome back to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Ewell, and today we're going to be talking about the habit of feedback. Now, if you think about feedback, more than ever today, we have the ability to give and receive instant feedback. Think about this. Within 5 seconds, you can literally pick up your iPhone, you can get on your computer, and you can look on Instagram, you can look on Facebook, any other social media, and instantly give someone feedback or receive feedback. You can ask questions, you can post, you can do whatever you want. But think about this. Social media, we have so many ways we can actually tap into giving feedback or receiving feedback every single day just by simply making a post, making comments, doing pictures, stories, whatever it is. Even in these private groups, you can ask specifically for feedback. But what happens when you get feedback when you didn't actually ask for it? Well, for me today, I got pissed off at somebody for giving me feedback when I didn't ask for it. Now, people can also give you likes. They can give you dislikes. They can even send you private messages. And they can even check and see if your spelling is correct. And if you're like me, I tend to have a problem in my posts with, your, Y-O-U-R, your, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, or their, T-H-E-I-R, or their, T-H-E-R-E. And my wife is probably the number one person who corrects me on this. She often sends me a text with the word circled and what I need to change. But every once in a while, I seem to have this small group of 3 or 4 people that like to correct my spelling. And for the most part, most of the time, I just kind of smile and think of, man, they must have a lot going on in their life to really just focus on what I'm doing and what my spelling's like. And, for a lot of people out there that may be listening to this, you may actually get triggered by the spelling. I don't really give a shit. I don't really care if I spell T-H-E-I-R. I care more about the message that I'm putting out there. And some people will say, well, I wouldn't work with you because of that. And I would say, well, chances are you'd probably find some other reason why you wouldn't want to work with me besides having 2 simple words spelled with 1 letter difference in them. But most of the time when I get feedback in this form, I simply am like, hey, thanks, and I move on. And even my wife sometimes will send them to me, and on certain days I may get triggered more than others. And today I happened to get triggered. Last night, we were out in Beverly Hills. We went to a red carpet event, which will be on another podcast. But I got home about 1 o'clock. I woke up about 7, took my kids to school, and this happened to be the first thing that I seen when I got on Facebook this morning. So I immediately got triggered. And it also happened to be in one of my private groups. So to me, it's kind of like, okay, listen, like if you're going to come to my house or into my territory, into my business, and tell me that I'm not spelling something correctly, then you're no longer a guest in my house, in my business, or in my personal space. And now I will actually tell you how I really feel about it. But the problem is, a lot of times with feedback is when we don't actually ask for it, it feels a lot like criticism. And when you get criticized, you usually get triggered, you get annoyed. I get triggered, I get annoyed, I get defensive. And this morning, that's what I got. And, they were worried about how I spelled their, T-H-E-I-R, versus T-H-E-R-E. And it happened to be on someone who had commented just on, hey man, I've been in your marriage boot camp for literally 7 days in the lead up, and I'm already starting to see a huge change in my marriage. There was no mention of that in the comments. It was just immediately telling me what I spelt wrong. And so that's where I get frustrated is people often miss the message and instead focus on what's wrong with what you said. And for me, like, I'm all about the message. Like, if I see a one misspelled word, I'm like, okay, whatever. But what is the message telling me? But I got triggered by this, and here's why. I didn't ask for feedback. This is the third time I happen to receive feedback from this person. A few other times, I think one other time they had done it privately, and then the last time they did it in public, and then they did it again this time in my own group. Now, the first two times I kind of let it go and was like, hey, great. But this time I'm like, listen, I don't pay you to give me feedback. I don't coach you. And you're actually in my group I created telling me that I spelled something wrong. Congratulations. But here is the reality. If I'm doing a post, if I'm doing a podcast, if I'm doing anything else on social media, I'm really opening myself up to feedback no matter what. No matter if I ask for it or not. And it's my choice to get triggered by it or not. And this got me to really think about something. One of the problems with feedback is people are not asking permission for feedback. They are just giving it. And one of the problems that comes up is if you don't ask someone for feedback, it will literally feel like criticism. It's one of those things that comes up in our marriage boot camp when we talk about husband and wives or spouses. When they give feedback and they don't ask for permission, like, it feels a lot like criticism and like you're trying to tear the other person down. And in marriage, it's crucial that we ask for feedback. It's one of the most crucial things in our marriage that we will do is ask for feedback. In fact, I think it's actually probably the top 2 or 3 most important things. Now, think about this, though. In business, if you're a business owner, a boss, a manager, maybe even an employee, it's important that we ask permission to either give or receive feedback. And the reason why is, if I said, hey, do you mind if I give you some feedback? What you're actually doing is you're agreeing to the feedback. And so once we have an agreement, I show up in a different place and my wife or, whoever I'm talking to, my employee, they're agreeing to that. And when they agree to it, that means they're open to receive it. But when we don't agree to it in marriage and in business, we aren't open to receive. We're actually closed off. So a lot of times this will come off as, okay, well, here we go again. My boss, my owner, my whoever, my wife is criticizing me again, and I don't like it. But on social media, nobody has to ask for permission. On podcasts, nobody has to ask me for permission. There's reviews. You can write comments. You can do whatever the hell you want. And just like this person did today, they don't have to ask me for permission. Now, I basically was like, listen, dude, you don't pay me. I don't pay you to coach me. I don't need to hear this. And I was just more triggered by it, probably because I didn't lose any sleep. But it got me to think about, how often on these channels do people, we don't even ask for advice, but we get it. We don't ask for feedback, but we get it. And if it bothers you, then that becomes your problem. Because here's the reality. We can unfriend people. We can unlike them. We can fight back. But in the end, we're not there to defend feedback. I'm there to spread my message. And so I really have to take a step back out of that and say, listen, do I want to waste all my time and energy into defending on whether or not I should spell their Their or There, or do I want to put all the energy into spreading my message, into focusing on the people that do want to actually hear my message, the people that are giving me the feedback, on both sides? Because in the end, you're going to get both. If you have a powerful message, you're going to get people who don't like you, and you're going to get people who do like you. And it doesn't really matter, because what matters is the message. Let them worry about feedback. Because here's the reality. Feedback without fighting back keeps the feedback on them. They often miss the message. And they're looking for what's wrong instead of what's right. Let me make this clear one more time. People that want to correct your spelling are often missing out on the message and the impact that you're having, because they're looking for what's wrong instead of what's right. Like the message in this post is like, hey, here's a guy that, has been struggling, or not even really struggling, but just wants to level up in his marriage. And he writes this post that says, hey man, like, this marriage boot camp is already changing my life, and we're only 7 days in. I can't imagine what's going to happen when I actually come to the live event. And no one said anything about that, or at least this guy did. The first thing he wanted to do was criticize, the comment that I left for him is like, hey, most people are unwilling to do this. And so maybe there was a deeper lesson in this. But here's the reality. Being on social media, nobody has to ask for feedback. I don't have to ask for it. Being on there, I can argue, I can do whatever the hell I want, but the reality of it is none of it really matters. What matters is the message, and what matters in life is this. These are 3 lessons that I actually learned from this today. As one is, realize that posting on social media or doing a podcast, putting your message out there, videos, whatever it is, you're opening yourself up to feedback, whether you like it or not. Number 2, in marriage or in business, one of the most crucial things to ask permission for is feedback, or it may come off as criticism. And then number 3, asking permission for feedback is a powerful way to communicate in marriage and in business, because both of you are in agreement before you actually move forward. And I can't think of a better business plan, I can't think of a better relationship plan than both of you in agreement before you move forward on your communication. So I'm going to ask you this one question today. Where in your life do you need to listen to feedback or offer feedback for someone else? And the next time, before you offer feedback, try asking for permission and just see how it's received, especially in your marriage and your business relationships. Is just simply, hey, can I offer you some feedback right now? If they say yes, you're in agreement, you move forward. If they say no, you know what, I'm not really ready for that right now, you can just politely say, okay, great. And then you're done, and there's nothing harm. But realize that any message you have on social media, on podcast, is open to feedback, whether you like it or not. If you guys are looking to connect further with a group of like-minded people, join myself and so many others in the Habit-Based Lifestyle Secrets group on Facebook, where I will be dropping daily habits to help you live to your full potential. You want to be one of our next case studies and begin living this habit-based lifestyle? Maybe you have questions, comments, or requests. Feel free to reach out to me, Jesse@habitbasedlifestyle.com. Until next episode, have a great day.